we have a supporter. We've got Richard Werner, the professor. He recognises that this is the sort of direction we've got to go. And perhaps before I shut up, I will just say this. I've been lucky enough to have a network of people on the inside telling me the truth. Now, unfortunately, most of them have died off. And I had two wonderful people, David Pidcock and Ken Palmerton, who I owe a huge amount to. And they came onto my scene. They came onto my radar just shortly after that mysterious phone call. So I get the feeling, because who my uncle was, I was going to be used as a conduit to get this information out. So I'm not the creator of this information. I'm not the genius behind it. I am merely a guy passing on information from the people inside who really want the truth to break through and to bring down this evil Tower of Babel, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I believe the truth is starting to come out. But remember this, the entire financial system at the moment is in the hands of private, unelected, unaccountable people who meet in complete secrecy. That's it. So you don't have to be an economist. Any economist, if they belong to the Austrian School of Economics, they belong to the Keynesian School of Economics, the School of New Economics, all these different schools of thought. None of them, not one of them, accepts the fact that the entire system is in the hands of private, unelected, unaccountable individuals who meet in secret. And of course, the crux, the core of this is the thing called the Bank for International Settlements. And barely 1% of the country, in our country, would have ever heard of it. And of that 1%, probably only about 10% would actually know what it does. And I can pretty well prove that, because since finding out about the Bradbury Pound, I've talked to 20 plus MPs, face to face. And usually, after the first question I asked them is, what can you tell me about the Bank for International Settlements? And not one of them could tell me anything at all about it. So there we are. That's me. I'll shut up now, because that really, in a nutshell, is what sovereign money is about. It's common sense, and it is the way to collapse the house of cards. Just this one thing will collapse the house of cards. It's not crypto money. It's nothing like that. This is solid money. It can be electronic. It can be physical, whatever. But the point is, it's based on something tangible and stable. And of course, then you can detach yourself completely from the other system, which is based on criminality.
So that's very good introduction, Justin. Very excellent. So the real issue is, how are we going to introduce it? It seems to me, from what you've been saying, that the actions in order to introduce it were taken by the government of the day, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, we know at the moment we have a real problem that we cannot control anything that goes on in Parliament, in the government. They have almost total control of the current monetary system. So what I'm really wondering about is, how do we go about introducing sovereign money in Britain so that it starts to have real traction, if you like, in the community, at the same time as our current monetary system is being manipulated by the elite? So have you got any ideas on that?
But the whole thing is, I mean, how many of us now can talk about the Bradbury the way I've just talked about it?
No, very few.
A few thousand people can. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people since 2012. A lot of people write to me saying they like the idea, etc. But the truth is, we're still in the minority. Now, I talked to one mathematician, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but he said something like, you've got to wake up 7% of the people, and that will trigger the majority eventually you'll need. And of course, time is against us to some extent. So really, what's got to happen? It's a bit like you've got this revolution of information, courtesy of AI and this, that, and the other. We've got to have a revolution of the truth about money. Because money is simply, I mean, those who can control the money can control the world and the world stage and what happens on that stage. Yeah. If they cannot control the money, they collapse. They're a house of cards. They know it. This is the big secret. And I'll give you proof that I know that the Parliament and the politicians, who are all in bed with the City of London, we can come on to that in a moment. But the thing that comes across more than anything else is that the politicians themselves who think they're sovereign in Parliament and they're in control. They've got a guy there who's called the City Remembrancer, a
Yeah.
position that was set up in 1571 by Queen Elizabeth I. And that individual, it looks like something which is rather sort of Dickensian, sort of, sort of style, a tradition of having somebody from the City of London sitting with your MPs. But he's there to make sure that the MPs never ask any difficult questions about money creation and money supply. And I will give credit to one individual. Only one individual has mentioned the Bradbury Pound in Parliament in the last 70 to 80 years, and that was Andrew Bridgen. And, Andrew, bless him, I briefed him about this. He didn't know anything about it because he was an MP. He's one of my 20 MPs who said he didn't know anything about it. He took from me all the information and stuff. And when he was asking, when he was standing in doing the King's speech when they opened Parliament about two years ago, was it? And he was basically saying what they should be doing. And one of the things he said was the government should be embracing the Bradbury Pound and sovereign money. So, that was brilliant. It actually went into what's the book they record all the stuff, and my mind's just gone blank for the
The
moment.
census.
Pardon?
The census?
Hansard,
No,
I think.
Hansard. I couldn't think, but it was Hansard. So at least it's in Hansard. But the real truth is we have to wake people up. The size, we need to get about 7% of the population demanding sovereign money. I have written to the last Chancellor of the Exchequer, bless her, Rachel in accounts, as they were joking. I mean, it was a brilliant nickname, that. And I wrote to her with 6 questions. I won't go through the questions now, but there were 6 questions, one of which was Professor Richard Werner has said that the City of London is a sovereign country in its own right, like the Vatican, like Washington, D.C. She said, how can that be right when the Bank of England is based, So I was simply asking the question, excuse me, if that's a sovereign country in its own right, what's it doing interfering with our country? So I said, can you confirm or deny that the Professor, Richard Werner, one of the top economists in the world, is correct, or is he wrong? Another thing I asked was, when the governor of the Bank of England, who, by the way, is a Fabian, when he comes back from his meetings every 6 weeks or so at Basel, at the Bank for International Settlements, which is a policy committee they have, and it consists of around about 10 governors of 10 central banks, plus other invited guests who you don't know who's invited. And they have this meeting. No minutes are taken. I mean, this is staggering. No minutes are taken, so it's in total secrecy. So I asked a simple question. When he returns from these meetings, does he come to number 11 or the Treasury? And does he brief you, the Chancellor, on what was said? Because this is strategic importance about money creation in the world and money supply. Does he come and tell you what was said? And of course, they can't answer. So on 5 occasions in the last 16 months, 5 occasions, I've sent letters, courtesy of my MP. So my MP, Tim Farron, doing his job as a good constituency MP, has sent these letters on my behalf to the Chancellor, and we got derisory responses back. I mean, not even going anywhere near answering the questions, just saying, well, thank you for keeping us informed and thank you for letting us know what your feelings are, etc. Not answering a damn thing. And the last one I got was saying, please don't write to us again. We'll take your letter, but we're not going to respond anytime soon on any of these questions. So there you are. I mean, I've got them. If you go onto our website, thegreatrising.com, which is great-rising.com, and go into the financial section, you will scroll down, you'll see all these letters in their full glory and the pathetic responses. They can't answer the questions, because if they did, they'd collapse the house of cards.